Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. So, the theme of this rains retreat, it's, I think, remember correctly, it's sati panya. So mindfulness, awareness, awakeness, and wisdom. And you hear it often mentioned, very often. Yeah, they're like a pair. They follow each other, or different aspect of the same thing. Because when you're awake, aware, wisdom comes naturally. And if you're not awake, aware, then obviously it's hard to have wisdom. And true wisdom comes from, your own investigation, your own looking at things. True wisdom doesn't come from books, doesn't come from talks, doesn't come from outside really, it comes from inside yourself. And so much of what we do in the monastery is not so much, or a little bit. I can't talk. I gotta talk up Ajahns sessions on Tuesday. So it's not like you don't know anything on when you read the books. You do something, but it doesn't take you to the end. It's the beginning. Books are the beginning, not the end. Sometimes people mistake the means for the end, and you see when you read the biographies of great meditation masters, it is, after they put down the books and start practicing, that they realize the Dhamma in themselves. And even some of them don't read the books, but still realize the Dhamma for themselves. But you can't do it the other way. You don't put down the books, and there'll be no realization. So you can become enlightened, can't escape, transcend suffering without the books, but not without the practice. There's no way around it. And I think sometimes part of that reading is hopefully to bring up the inspiration. Once you understand the Dhamma, once it makes sense, and it's conceptually, hopefully brings up faith, brings up inspiration, and encourage us to put that into practice for ourselves and realize that for ourselves and end suffering in our own heart and mind. And I think that's the purpose, obviously, of the learning. And it just brings me back to, a title of one of Ajahns' famous Ajahn Chah's. I don't think he gave that title, but it's the title of one of his teachings, is that everything is teaching us. And the more you reflect, the more you look within yourself, clearly in the external world. And that's always the case. Everything's always teaching us. Our body and mind is teaching us. Other people's actions teaching us. The world around us is teaching us. The birds, the trees, the changing weather. It's always teaching us things. But sometimes we're just not looking. Sometimes we're not aware and we miss it. Body's constantly teaching us, our body, that it doesn't belong to us. It does what it wants. It's constantly changing according to causes and condition. We don't really control it. Each and every day reminds us that when it gets sick, Everybody else around us is teaching us. They do what they want to do. They don't go according to our wishes. Sometimes we think, oh, the world will be easier. Everybody follows. Everybody's more like me. I think the monastery will run much better. We all think that. But the case is, it isn't like us. Everybody acts according to their own causes and condition. Sati goes sati ways. Dham does dham thing. And they can't do anything else. And that's the nature of the world we live in. And our job is not so much. I try to mold them into little versions of ourselves, as much as we like to, as much as we think our delusion thinks to be better. Our job is really to understand the world around us and to make peace with it and to see the causes and conditions, allow that to come. Peace doesn't come from getting everything we want the way we like. Peace comes from making peace with the way things are. And also understanding causes and conditions. And that's what I love about Buddhism when I first came to it. It's not just about belief. You believe, you know for yourself. It's not about, just have enough faith in the Buddha that things, become, you understand it. Or when you die, you understand why things are the way they are. Buddhism is about, it's systematic. What the Buddha left behind us. It's a systematic training of the mind. And it follows, causality. It follows true science. Sometimes when we come to Buddhism and they talk about ghosts and angels, devas and of the world, it's like, that's pretty hocus pocus, Ajahn. That's not very scientific. And this is where I beg to differ. Just because science hasn't come up with a machine to capture devas doesn't mean they don't exist. And and when you read the Buddha's teaching, he never said, believe me, when you die, you'll make sense. You'll die, you'll know for yourself. He never said that. He said that if you practice, if your mind is clear enough, you see for yourself. Nowhere in the books does it tell you, believe me until you see for yourself. Nowhere in the books what the meditation master says, when you die, you find out for yourself. No, there is a training. There is the path. But we have to know it for ourselves. And sometimes initially that's where the faith comes in. Faith that these things do exist. And that we'll understand for ourselves eventually. But in Buddhism, there's never a complete faith. And then somehow, you have enough faith in the Buddha, or if you're a theistic person, believe in God, and God will, when you die, all make sense. No, Buddha never said that. We have to have faith and put my teaching into practice. You know for yourself. And that's what I find the great thing about Buddhism, the liberating thing, is that we get to know for ourselves. We get to, when you understand the Dhamma, you realize the Dhamma and you end suffering for yourself. But it doesn't mean that you see and understand everything from day one. It doesn't work that way. It is a gradual process of seeing deeply into reality, deep into the nature of things, deep into the nature of body and mind. It works. Understand the causality. When this happens, that happens. And that's what Buddhism, like say mindfulness, going back to mindfulness, is so useful. Just, day-to-day thing, trying to apply that. When you eat things, see how they affect. You get sick from eating things, you realize, okay, well that doesn't agree with me, I need something else. So always look into how things work in your life and try to adapt and change. We look at how our relationship with other people. When we say some things, how they react. If it's skillful or unskillful. When we start to yell at people, how does that affect? Generally, if you yell at other people, they usually yell back at you. You realize, okay, maybe that's not the best way to relate to the world. Maybe there's a more skillful way to relate to the world. It's not always about, like I said, we do good things because we're told to. No, you act harmless. You're skillful and harmonious because those bring good results. You're peaceful and kind. When you're generous, it stills the mind. It puts the mind in a good condition for you to further cultivate peace, further cultivate your meditation. You notice, in the world, you don't keep the 5 precepts. But let's say if you're constantly lying and cheating other people, you might think, if you're not practicing, you might think, it's a shortcut, easy way. But when you start practicing, you realize that cheating other people, there's a cost to you. You always constantly, people who cheat other people are very nervous. One, they're afraid to get found out. 2, their common thing is that they cannot trust anybody because they know, maybe somebody else cheating me. That's the nature of a cheat. It thinks everybody's also cheating them. And it's not very peaceful. And it's not, not a, it is a state of suffering when you're sensitive and you see that. So anything that is unskillful that we do in any ways, it brings suffering to the mind, brings dis-ease. You're not at ease when you're doing something that's not above board. When you say things that are mean or unkind. When you do things, hurt other beings. You might say no one's looking around, but you yourself see that. That's the nature of karma. That what we do, it leaves a trace. And we do good karma, it brings good results. It's like, karma is just like planting a tree. You plant an apple tree, you don't get a peach tree. That's not how it works. So whatever you sow, that's what you reap. It's very direct, very clear. You live a good life, they expect good results. You have an unskillful life, then those two will come back to harm and to hurt you as well. So it's not just a matter of faith. It's not a hocus pocus thing. It's something that you can see for yourself. If you are studying, if you have the clarity and the awakeness, the awareness to watch how things unfold. And the more you see the workings of the law of karma, the more you see deeply into the nature of your body and mind, the more you understand that what the Buddha said is, it's very clear. It's very logical. And what the Buddha said is, he teaches an open hand. There are no secret teachings in Buddhism, Theravada. What the Buddha teaches is as it is, not otherwise. But it does take this constant awareness of looking, of being awake, aware, being present, what's happening. Because so much of sometimes, in the world, we're always conditioned, encouraged to look outward, look out into the world around us, look into space, to deep oceans. And we're great as a society to study other things. But so often we don't turn the telescope, the microscope around and look inside this heart and mind of ours, this body and mind of ours. What is it? What am I? What is this mind of ours? Is it really me? Is it really mine? Is it really stable? Or is this just a process of flowing things? Just ideas that comes and goes, just moods that comes and go. We don't really control it at all. Might feel like it, but when we see clearly, it's all conditioned. Our thoughts are by association. One thought leads to another. Sometimes it has its own logic, but sometimes it isn't. It's just association. We're at a certain place. Like I always, ask people to kind of do this thought experiment. We think, you make your decisions. You go to the barber to have a haircut that you want. You go shopping. You buy the shirt that you think you want, that looks nice. But really, if you're born in a completely different country, will you still be the person that you are? If one of your parents is a different person, will you be the person that you are? Of course not. We're all conditioned by everything around us. Even if we like to, it's just a delusion or sense of self that we built up based on our attachment, based on views and opinions. That's all conditioned. So our job is to look inside to understand what is it that conditions us. Where is it that we're making a self out of things? Where is it that this self is causing suffering for ourselves and others? And so much of the Buddha's teaching is pointing to that. Well, hopefully, those Tuesday classes with Luang Por is also pointing to that there's this kind of social construct of a self. But so much of that is involved with suffering and stress, trying to hold on to this self, trying to identify with this self. And so much of the practice is see deeply beyond this sense of self, see deeply into causality, and to free ourselves from this identification of this body and mind that we take. And when we're not identified with this body and mind, we also release the external self of others. We don't exist, and nobody else exists either. There's just causes and conditions. There's not a self out there that is doing nice things to you or annoying you on purpose. They're just doing their own thing. But so much of the teaching, of the Buddha's teaching or Ajahn, is more of an invitation, inviting us to put the teaching to practice, to see for ourselves. And I can't emphasize that enough. So much of it about the practice. So that's why you enforce it in monasteries. People always need this less of time allowed for you to go to practice. To have the clarity of mind to see into the nature of this body of ours, or to this mind of ours. To constantly question, is it me and mine? Do I really control it? Is it really stable? Is it really reliable? Truly reliable? Or it does what it does. The body does what it does. You go on a retreat, and it falls apart. And it's like, oh, what's wrong? I think that was a couple of years ago. Someone's all ready for their 3 months retreat. And so it's the day before the 3 month retreat, they become really sick. Oh, there goes that retreat. And it's just, That's what it is. Things are ultimately unreliable. And the more we understand it, the more we learn to adapt to things changing, moving. And the less hopefully we suffer because we're not holding on to things, just allowing things to pass. We're present. We'll enjoy things as they come. When they leave, we don't worry about them. People come and go. Allow them to be as they are, do their thing. They pass. Other people come and go. It's just the nature of the world. The other thing I was thinking about on my retreat was also, the monasteries here, it's just a place for you to come and practice, to put the teaching of the Buddha into practice, to see for yourself. But it does, our job is also, as monks or as teacher, is also to find ways to inspire and to support you in your journey. And certainly on my own personal journey, inspiration is important. Find ways to inspire yourself each and every day, to continue walking the path. Because sometimes it is not easy. We have our own defilements, we will have our own craving, we're all for our own expectations. Sometimes inspirations turns to desperation very quickly because you don't see the results. And I get that a lot, What if I'm doing the wrong thing, Ajahn? What if I bet in Buddhism I come, I give up my 2 weeks, I could be on a holiday, and I get nothing in return. I don't get my jhanas, I'm not enlightened after my 10 days. It's like, I'm wasting my time, I should have gone on a holiday. What if I've been doing this for 10 years and I don't get anything? Then what? But that's part of the problem, is our own condition, worldly condition of wanting to get things, wanting to go somewhere, be somewhere. That is the nature of craving. Once we wake up, we realize there's nothing to get, there's nowhere to go. Then why should I practice? You say, why should I practice then? There's nothing to get. Because there's no you there anyway. You can't help it but to practice. You can't help to doubt. So if there is a social sense of a self, then move towards that skillful self of finding ways to inspire yourself, finding ways to live a harmless life. And then when there's more peace, more clarity, you see for yourself, where is it that you're making suffering for yourself and others? Where is it that you're clinging, you're craving is causing problem in yourself? Where is it your delusion of creating a self in yourself and others? And when the clear seeing happens, wisdom arises. Letting go happens naturally. You don't decide to let go. When you see clearly, letting go happens. It's like, most of the time we're walking around holding on a piece of coal. It's burning us, but we don't see, we don't feel it. We think it's fun, we think it's ours somewhere, we hold it. When you see clearly that whatever you're holding on, what you're craving, it is causing suffering. You're burning from it. Letting go happens naturally. You're free. But it only happens when you see clearly. And then we'll crave, we'll grasp. It's natural to a certain extent. So Is the intention of the monastery, my own intention? Yeah. It's just a place, quiet place for you. Few people, not too many distractions. Bit of work here and there. Solar systems, cooking, cleaning. But it's all part of the practice. So living, working together in peace and harmony. Then you go take that peace, take that harmony, take that goodness you cultivate during the day. You go back to your kuti. You calm the mind. You see clearly into this nature, body and mind of ours. Then liberation happens. Then you realize how everything belongs. You're always where you're supposed to be. Suffering ceases. So I offer that for your reflection tonight. Okay, we'll bow together, and then the next leg happens. Take a break or continue walking and sitting till 11 o'clock. And we'll come back here and chant Itipiso for about 37 times. Arahanga Samma Sambuddho Bhagawa Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swakatam Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipanna Bhagavata Vasavaka Sangho Sanghang Namami.